Let's talk about one of the biggest mysteries heading into Foundation Season 3. Who is the real Mule? Now, if you've read the books, you already know the Mule isn't just some warlord or pirate. He's a game changer, a walking disruption to the entire premise of Hari Seldon's Psycho history. And if you've only been following the Apple TV Plus series, then buckle up, because what you've seen so far might just be the tip of a very deceptive iceberg. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. So let's dive into the theory, one that's gaining traction fast. The Mule we've seen in the show so far may not actually be the real Mule. Yeah, you heard that right. There's a possibility that the villain everyone's been focusing on is just a puppet, and the true threat is someone hiding in plain sight. Let's explore how that could be true and why this might end up being the best twist in the entire series.
Bad Mule. I should have a word with him.
So what's the theory? Let's start with the basics. In the Foundation books by Isaac Asimov, the Mule is not who he appears to be at first. In fact, in the original novel Foundation and Empire, the Mule infiltrates the Foundation by posing as his own court jester, a pathetic, awkward, and seemingly harmless clown named Magnifico Giganticus. Yeah, the guy everyone ignores? That's the guy who ends up nearly dismantling the entire galaxy-wide plan of Hari Seldon. Now, in Foundation Season 2, we got a glimpse of a new character, played originally by Mudlove Media and now recast with Pilou Asbæk, known for playing Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. He looks terrifying, commanding, a villain through and through. He's got the look, the army, the swagger, but what if he's not actually the Mule? What if he's just the face of fear, while the real threat, someone manipulating things from the shadows, is still waiting to be unmasked? And yes, that's where Magnifico comes in.
Any information?
Oh yes, Maggie, come! Maggie, come on!
Not information.
Magnifico, the real mastermind? Magnifico Giganticus has now been officially introduced in the show, played by Thomas Lamarcus, and fans are already suspicious. He seems a little too weird, a little too awkward, and a little too conveniently placed with characters like Torin and Beta. In the books, this is exactly how the Mule infiltrates. He manipulates his way into their trust, pretending to be scared, fleeing the evil Mule, while in reality, he is the Mule. Now think about this. The showrunners recasting the Mule with someone as recognizable and typecast as Pilou Asbæk, that might not be an accident. It's a clever move. Pilou is the distraction, the red herring. He looks like a villain, acts like a villain, so naturally we believe he is one. Meanwhile, Magnifico, he's just this odd little character playing music and acting jittery. But remember that musical instrument he uses? In the books, it's called a Visi-Sonor, and it's not just a fancy harp. It's a mind control device, literal, weaponized music. And if you've watched closely, the show might have already hinted at this. The Mule's powers, more than just fear. Let's talk about the Mule's main ability. He's a mentalic. That means he has the power to manipulate emotions, control minds, and bend others to his will without them even knowing it's happening. In the trailer and some early Season 3 clips, we see scenes that suggest mass mind control. Armies switching loyalties on the spot, people suddenly complying without a fight, entire rooms falling into an eerie silence when music is played. Sound familiar? Now here's a fun theory. What if it's not Pilou Asbæk's Mule who's pulling those strings? What if it's Magnifico using his music, his Visi-Sonor, and his proximity to those in power to silently flip the board? There's even a moment where Pilou's Mule says something like, "Do you ever feel like your life isn't your own? Like something else is guiding you?" That's not just creepy, that's suspicious. That sounds like someone being mind-controlled. It could be a subtle cry for help, or the show's way of telling us he's not in control.
You're like me.
The evidence is stacking up. Let's look at a few specific examples from the series that support this theory. The scene with Archduke Balorian, When the mule arrives, there's this surreal holographic scene where everything seems manipulated. The whole army switches sides like they're under a spell. What if it's not brute force that made them obey, but the Vizi-Sonor being used in the background? Pritcher's encounter. When General Pritcher tries to approach the mule, he's stopped dead in his tracks by a sudden mental attack. But here's the weird part. The mule doesn't even see him coming. He's not facing him. So how did he know Pritcher was there? Well, guess who was on stage, elevated and looking directly at Pritcher's approach? Magnifico. That could have been him, using his powers from the shadows to protect his puppet, the fake mule.
Gaul's voiceover. In a recent episode, Gaul talks about how the mule seems like any other pirate on the surface, but under that surface, something much darker is happening. That's not just foreshadowing, that's practically a confirmation. Let's talk about appearance. Another thing the books mention is that the mule is physically odd, distorted, almost pitiful to look at. People underestimate him based on how he looks, which is exactly why he's so effective as a manipulator. Compare that to the version of the mule we've seen on screen, Pissalu's version. He looks like a warlord straight out of Central Casting, brutish, confident, and physically imposing. Meanwhile, Magnifico, he's wiry, pale, almost otherworldly, and most importantly, completely unthreatening, but also incredibly strange. If the show follows the book, then it's Magnifico who fits the mule's true appearance. That might not be a coincidence. It could be a deliberate nod to the readers, those who know the twist is coming. But wait, could it all be a double bluff? Now, let's be fair. Foundation, the show, has taken plenty of liberties with the source material. It's not a one-to-one adaptation, and that opens the door to one more possibility. What if the showrunners know we're expecting the twist? What if they're deliberately playing with us? Maybe Pissalu Azbek really is the mule. Maybe the writers are counting on book fans to assume the Magnifico twist is coming, and then they don't do it. That would be a twist in itself. It's also worth noting that the mule's backstory in the books involves years of suffering, being ridiculed for his appearance, and eventually rising to power using his mental Ailic abilities. Pissalu's version has hinted at a similar past, growing up in war, never knowing peace, being shaped by suffering. There's even a moment when he connects with Brother Dawn and talks about how different their lives were. That felt genuine. That felt like someone who has lived a lifetime of pain and resentment. So maybe he is the mule. Or maybe that backstory is someone else's, implanted to make us sympathize with the wrong character. What's more likely? Honestly, given how much setup the show has done, the Magnifico as the mule twist still feels the most likely. It's such a powerful reveal in the books that skipping it would be a missed opportunity. It adds a whole layer of tension and paranoia to the narrative. Every interaction with Magnifico suddenly becomes loaded with subtext. The idea that the real villain is hiding right under everyone's nose, charming them, entertaining them, quietly controlling them. It's chilling. And if the show pulls it off right, it could become one of the best twists in sci-fi TV history. Why this twist matters. More than just a clever deception, the mule's identity speaks to one of the biggest themes in Foundation, the unpredictability of individuals. Hari Seldon's entire plan is built on the idea that the future can be predicted by tracking the behavior of the masses. But the mule? He's the wild card, the exception, the one person so powerful, so unique, that he breaks the plan entirely. He's a warning, a living glitch in the Matrix, and whether he's already on our screen or still waiting to reveal himself, one thing's for sure, the Foundation is in trouble. Our nerdy thoughts. So what do you think? Is Pissalu Azbek just a puppet? Is Thomas Lemmerkies's Magnifico really pulling the strings? Or is the show playing us all and sticking with a straightforward villain? Either way, Foundation Season 3 is shaping up to be the most intense, mind-bending chapter yet. The mule is here. We just don't know exactly who he is or what he's truly capable of. But by the time we find out, it might already be too late. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to check out our Foundation playlist for full episode breakdowns, theories, and character deep dives. Let us know your mule theory in the comments. Are we being tricked, or is the real threat already among us?
Preordained.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.